When we gather to celebrate the Eucharist, the Mass, the first part of our liturgy is called the Liturgy of the Word, and every time that we come to Mass, we hear various passages from the Bible, from the sacred scriptures. Typically at a daily Mass, there are two main readings. There's the first reading, often taken from the Old Testament, and during Lent, we often hear passages from the prophet Isaiah. And then, of course, the second reading is always a gospel, one of the passages written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. And the gospel writers always focus on Jesus and his teachings and his experiences. One of the underappreciated parts of the Liturgy of the Word that we often don't think about is the psalm response. So in between the first reading and the second reading is always a psalm. And the book of Psalms is a wonderful book in the middle of the Old Testament, and it's really wonderful. It's like a prayer book in the middle of all of the writings of the Old Testament, the writings that remind us about the history of the people of Israel and their journeys and their triumphs and their struggles. But in the middle of all this is this book that's really dedicated to prayer. How fitting it is that at Mass we center at one point on the prayers. Many of the Psalms, there are 120 of them, were written by King David. And Psalms can be hymns, they can be poems, they can be reflections on what is happening spiritually. And during the season of Lent, we have what we call the pillars of Lent: prayer, almsgiving, and fasting. Those are the things that help us to grow in the Lenten season. And we have a beautiful psalm response today that's really a reflection about prayer. A lot of times people say to me, I don't know how to pray. Or when I pray, nothing happens. I don't know. I never hear anything when I'm praying. And those are all very good questions. I think we can all relate to sometimes feeling nothing's happening when I pray, or how am I supposed to be praying? And the psalmist today speaks about prayer. O Lord, hear my prayer and let my cry come to you. One of the messages in the book of Psalms today, this beautiful psalm, Psalm 102, is the power of listening. If you're like me, we do a lot of talking. We're always talking, or someone's talking at us, but we're not listening. How about at home? Sometimes your mom or dad will say, "You're not listening to me." Or you might say to one of your friends, "Nobody's listening to me. Everybody's talking at me, but they're not listening." And the psalmist tells us today that God wants to listen. He wants to hear what's going on in our lives. He wants to hear what's going on, what's bothering you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what's hard in your life right now. The Lord wants to hear those things. And the psalmist says, "O Lord, hear my prayer. Incline your ear to hear me." Part of prayer is, "O Lord, please hear me." And the psalmist reassures us today that the Lord is listening to us. He's there to hear what we have to say and how we're feeling. This beautiful psalm today helps us as we are in the home stretch of this Lenten season. How can I pray? How can I feel that the Lord is hearing my prayers? How can I be confident that He's really listening to what I need and what I hope for and what I dream about? And so today we might think about, how are we listening in our prayer? What are the things that we're hearing from the Lord? What would we like the Lord to hear about us?
Thank you for participating in this production of our virtual Mass. Your presence means so much. Every day, so many parishioners connect to OLPH through the digital ministry. The digital ministry is one of almost 80 ministries supported by the parish. That's why your support of the parish is crucial, so we can continue to have the resources to fund all of our ministries that touch the lives of many. Thank you for watching. Continue to watch, and thanks again for your support.